Rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler just finished up his first NFL start in his debut as the Saints starting quarterback, and while he did have some mistakes, I think it's safe to say he played pretty well considering the circumstances. He didn't have Chris Olave, who was out with a concussion after the first quarter. He had third string offensive linemen blocking for him, and the Saints defense turned back the clock and was playing like it was 2016. It wasn't perfect, but I think there was quite a bit of promise in this game from rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler in their loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's break down the Saints' loss to the Buccaneers and how everything went overall for the Saints on Sunday. If you plan on getting any jerseys, hoodies, shirts, whatever it may be, make sure you check out Fanatics. I get all of my stuff from Fanatics, all my jerseys, all my hoodies. I always make sure to use them. And they usually do have a little discount code or something that helps you save some money on your purchase. So if you plan on getting anything soon, use my affiliate link down in the description. It'll help me and the channel out a lot. And if you want to help support me and the channel in any other ways, you can just click my link tree down in the description. There's lots of options for you there as well. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Let's get back to the video. Let's start off with Spencer Rattler, who will be the main talking point most likely of this game for the Saints. So overall, how did his first NFL start go? Spencer Rattler on the day went 22 out of 40 through 243 yards, threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and was sacked 5 times while running for 27 yards on 4 carries. Now this isn't the prettiest stat line, obviously. You would like that completion percentage to be up and for those interceptions to not be there. But I also don't think this stat line tells the whole story of how the game went and how good actually Spencer Rattler actually played. Now, I don't think he played great, but I think he did well enough to the point where you might be happy and pleased with how he performed. And when you consider the circumstances that the rookie quarterback was under in his first NFL start, you might be more pleased with his situation. He had Nick Saldiveri at left guard, a guy who got benched last week, Connor McGovern at center, a guy who they signed a week ago, and Landon Young at right guard in his 3rd game ever playing right guard in his life. He didn't have Chris Olave, Taysom Hill was injured, Alvin Kamara was injured, he was playing but the running game also wasn't going, and of course the defense was absolutely terrible today. So given all of that, and for him to still go out there and still look pretty decent, I think that's a good sign that he may be a good player in this league. I mean, that situation and those circumstances are hard for any quarterback. I don't care who it is, if it's Derek Carr or Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Those are rough circumstances. And for Spencer Rattler in his first NFL start, I think he did pretty well. I think he handled it to the best of his ability. Within the first half, I thought Spencer Rattler made some really nice plays with his arm, showcased his mobility and how a mobile quarterback can help make a bad offensive line look good. He had some nice connections with Bub Means and the tight ends. I thought in the first half, Spencer Rattler was looking like the chosen one. And he got off to a right start on his first play. It was a laser to, I believe, Juwan Johnson, who had a nice pickup. Then on the next play, found Chris Olave, who got absolutely jacked on a play that should have been called for a helmet-to-helmet illegal hit. I don't know how this is not called as an illegal contact, helmet-to-helmet hit, but it wasn't. Even former Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas tweeted out and questioned how this wasn't targeting. And that play ended up being ruled a fumble, and the Buccaneers ran it back for a touchdown. A pretty big play in the game, none of which was because of Spencer Rattler's fault. Olave just got hit hard and was out for the rest of the game due to a concussion. And real quick, since we're on the topic of refs not calling the targeting on Chris Olave, why are the refs not accepting Jonathan Abram calling a timeout? Then when he's either faking an injury or has an injury and he's laying on the ground, they still let the play go. Very, very weird game from the refs. They didn't lose the Saints the game, just some really few weird particular calls. But I think we saw Spencer Rattler showcase his ability to make some tough throws. For example, on this play, rolling out to the right, found Bub Means on the sideline. It was a really nice connection, and I think this is a play where you like having Spencer Rattler's mobility as opposed to Derek Carr being a statue in the pocket. Also on this 3rd and 3 play, Spencer Rattler did a nice job with no one downfield, found a way to make a play and get the first down and keep the chains moving. That's the stuff you kind of want out of Spencer Rattler. No one's open. Go make a play with your legs. We wouldn't see Derek Carr making moves or plays like this. And Spencer Rattler was actually playing so well that he was making Juwan Johnson, a guy who has not been good the last 2 seasons, he was making him look good. He was getting the tight ends involved. Things were definitely looking up for Spencer Rattler. And even on that touchdown pass he threw to Bell Memes, it was a really nice ball. Put it to only where the receiver could get it. And it was a nice touchdown catch. Got 2 feet. I am curious who got to keep that ball. It was Bell Memes' first touchdown catch and Spencer Rattler's first touchdown pass. I wonder who kept it. We also had a pretty cool moment. I'll say this. Derek Carr congratulating Spencer Rattler on the sideline. Nick Underhill of New Orleans Got Football got a nice photo of it. Pretty cool moment between Derek Carr congratulating Spencer Rattler on his first touchdown. Overall, I thought the first half was well. Even though the running game wasn't working, I thought Spencer Rattler and the Saints did a good job of finding ways to move the ball and be productive on offense. The offensive line didn't look horrible due to Spencer Rattler's mobility, and I thought the game plan was working with the play actions and the bootlegs, finding ways to get Rattler out of the pocket, misdirection. I thought it was a good game plan, and I thought it was working pretty well. In the first half, Spencer Rattler was 11 of 17, 140 yards, threw a touchdown, and ran for 21 yards on 3 carries. That is a good stat line right there, and that's kind of the stat line you would want from your rookie quarterback in his first start. But at the end of the second half, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Todd Bowles made some adjustments for the Saints, and from that point on, the Saints offense struggled. Todd Bowles started going back to his basic fundamentals and what he does best and started blitzing the quarterback. And from that point on, it was hard for the Saints to really do anything. Todd Bowles made adjustments. Meanwhile, Clint Kubiak in the offense lacked the ability to make adjustments to counter the blitz. And we really saw how costly that was in the second half because they were not able to move the football. The Saints scored all 27 of their points in the second quarter, and when it came in the second half, it went punt, interception, end of game. And a big reason why it was so lackluster in the second half was because one coaching staff was able to make changes to help their team win the game, while another coaching staff did not make adjustments, did not make a change, and did not think to find a way to protect their rookie quarterback against the blitz. And even in the second half, when the Saints did something positive, like this big play to Juwan Johnson, which got the Saints into Tampa Bay territory, something bad would happen and a penalty would negate it. It was 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Now, I just don't want to glaze Spencer Rattler and make him seem like he played great and everyone else messed up. Spencer Rattler had his miscues as well. For example, I think the biggest mistake he had, and I think probably the worst thing he did, was the second interception he threw. That was just a bad ball and a bad decision. He was throwing it outside to Rashid Shaheed. The coverage was tight. The guy just made an excellent play. But everything else throughout the game, I think, was just Spencer Rattler making rookie mistakes as opposed to him being stupid. The interception to Rashid Shaheed, it was the right decision. Just didn't put enough power on it or enough juice. He did miss some reads, like some plays to Rashid Shaheed on a crosser. Did miss Dallin Holker for a touchdown. He also missed Cedric Wilson on this play in the red zone on 3rd down. It looked like Rattler thought he probably would have been able to run it in for a touchdown. But had he thrown it to Cedric Wilson, he might have scored a touchdown. I'm sure Rattler was thinking he saw daylight and was going to get in there. He also missed Bubbins on an out route. I just think it was a lot of, lack of connection, lack of chemistry, and a lot of rookie mistakes as opposed to, if Derek Carr was making these mistakes, he's in year 12. It's a little bit different. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're making excuses for Spencer Rattler. I wouldn't be making these excuses for Derek Carr. And you're right. Derek Carr is an 11-year vet. He shouldn't be making these type of mistakes. These are mistakes you're expecting a rookie to make. Things like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, they all made similar mistakes in their first starts. Now all of them are playing pretty well 6 weeks into the season because they got more playing experience, more exposure to the playbooks, more exposure to NFL defenses. Outside of that last interception Rattler threw, I don't think this is a case of Rattler being bad. It was just Rattler making rookie mistakes. And if you're blaming Spencer Rattler for this game, then you simply just don't know football. He didn't have any help throughout the entire freaking game. And not to mention, by the end of the game, Spencer Rattler had thrown 40 passes in his debut. That formula does not work for winning any games, let alone a rookie in his first start. He also had Clint Kubiak with some very weird 3rd down calls on 3rd and 3 called a run play when the run game had not been working all day, and on another 3rd and 2 called another run play which didn't get the first down. Very confusing, didn't let Spencer Rattler make plays. You also had Alvin Kamara drop a few passes, not blaming anything, but they're not blaming anything on AK. He's doing his best. He's beat up right now in terms of injuries and health wise. I'm just saying the situation wasn't perfect for Spencer Rattler. Even Spencer Rattler said post-game like he knew the first half was good and the second half it was just sloppy football. It wasn't to the best of their abilities. He made mistakes. The sacks were his fault. He said the offensive line played well. He's taking the blame for all of it, and I think that's a good sign that he's being a leader. But overall, we can't put the blame on a rookie quarterback for losing this game. Post-game, even Dennis Allen said he intends to keep Spencer Rattler as the starting quarterback while Derek Carr recovers from his oblique injury, which Jay Glazer earlier today said should be 3 to 4 weeks. Obviously, Spencer Rattler's debut wasn't perfect, but I think he did pretty well considering the circumstances and what was around him. And like I said earlier, you can't simply blame this loss on Spencer Rattler because the defense was atrocious today. The Saints defense today gave up 51 points, 594 yards, 31 first downs, 8.2 yards per play, missed a billion tackles. And let me remind you that this is a defensive-minded head coach's team and a defensive identity team. And let me remind you, this was a game where the defense needed to be at their best to make life easy for Spencer Rattler and not rely on a rookie quarterback to win you the football game in his first NFL start, and yet they go out there and do that. I honestly feel like we were watching a 2015 Saints defense again, watching the defense let down a quarterback who's doing the best that he could. Even the game plan from the start by Dennis Allen was very confusing. They opened up the drive with Paulson Adebo covering Mike Evans, which, obviously didn't work. The run defense was terrible today. As it has been all season, Dennis Allen's defense can't stop the run. There was zero pressure, and when they did get pressure on Baker Mayfield, he proceeded to break the sacks. The Saints just could not tackle today. They could not get pressure. They can't stop the run. The Saints defense does not do really anything well right now. And look at Paulson Adebo getting stiff-armed by Chris Godwin as if he's Derrick Henry. Embarrassing, man. Go low. Also, shout out to the Saints defense for letting Chris Godwin break a billion tackles on this touchdown yards after the catch run. Great tackling, guys. This just looking like Pee-wee out there. And from today, the only good player on this team was Marshon Lattimore, who at the end did not look very thrilled. He looked out of it. He does not look like someone who's bought in to Dennis Allen's culture and what he's been trying to do as the Saints head coach now for 3 years. And now we can't blame Marshon Lattimore for requesting a trade or trying to be traded last offseason and this past offseason. And I would be okay if he requested a trade now. His talents are being wasted here when he could be on a competitor, shutting down one side of the field, helping a team reach the Super Bowl. Also, a shout out to Marshon Lattimore for yet again clamping up Mike Evans, his son. The Saints allowed 594 yards today. That is the second most in franchise history. Sean Tucker coming into this game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 53 total yards of offense over 16 career games. And today he had 14 carries for 136 yards and a touchdown with 3 catches, 56 yards and a touchdown. Way to make bad players look good, Dennis Allen. And this was also the first time since 2012 a generationally bad defense. The first time since 2012 the Saints defense allowed more than 50 points. Gotta give it up for Dennis Allen, man. And the Saints defense was this bad despite them getting 3 interceptions, one by Paulson Adebo, one by Jonathan Abram, and one by Cameron Jordan. And despite all of this, they allowed Tampa Bay to beat them this badly. Straight up embarrassing. Post-game, Dennis Allen called the tackling on defense atrocious. You know what I think? I think Dennis Allen's coaching is atrocious. But that's not going to change because they're going to make the injury excuse for Dennis Allen. Say if he had a healthy team, they would have been much better. The front office and organization just makes nonstop excuses for a generational loser of a head coach. The worst part about all of this was that this was a very winnable game. The Saints had the lead going into halftime. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were making a lot of mistakes. They were committing a lot of penalties, which helped the Saints. They were turning the ball over, which helped the Saints. They weren't blitzing Spencer Rattler a lot in the first half, which benefited the Saints. This was a very winnable game, a very critical game to win, since it was a division game and the Saints were now 2-4 instead of 3-3. And yet the Saints got smoked 51-27. This is just a reflection of Dennis Allen and his coaching, and the fact that the Saints under Dennis Allen have not been able to beat good teams, and it can only beat bad teams. And the 2024 Saints are the first team since the 1950 Baltimore Colts to intercept 3 passes, score 27 points, and lose a game by 24 or more points. Generationally bad head coach and coaching right there. Both Dennis Allen and Clint Kubiak didn't have their best days. Clint Kubiak, I thought, had a good first half of coaching, but made 0 adjustments for Todd Bowles and his blitzes in the second half. And Dennis Allen is Dennis Allen. We've talked a lot of negatives about this game, how the defense sucks, and how there just simply wasn't a lot of help overall or production. But let's give some positive shoutouts to some players who actually played good games. Number 1, Marshawn Lattimore. He's playing like prime Darrelle Revis. The dude has been nothing but shut down all season. But it doesn't matter. He's not getting recognition because he's on the Saints, which are a bad team. I thought Trevor Penning has been solid. I thought he had a good game today. Had a huge block on Alvin Kamara's 60th career touchdown run as well. Spencer Rattler, I thought, had a good day. That's just my opinion given the circumstances. Obviously, different people are going to have different opinions. Some people are blaming the loss on Rattler, telling me in my DMs that he should be benched. I don't think Haener would have done just as good as Spencer Rattler. I thought he had a good day, but obviously, like I said, different people are going to have different thoughts and opinions. I thought Rashid Shaheed on his punt return, that was a nice play, but overall on offense, I thought Rashid Shaheed was underwhelming, wasn't very much involved. Bub Means had himself a really good game filling in for the injured Chris Olave. Bub Means had 5 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown today, and I think he might be the leading candidate now to be the Saints' number 3 receiver behind Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, which is something the Saints have been looking for all season. Also, shout out to Matthew Habel, the punter. He had a good day, so much better than Lou Hedley, aka Laserbeam. Matt Habel had a good day. And finally, I thought the tight ends had a good game. Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau. Spencer Rattler got them involved. The playbook got them involved. The game plan got them involved. It was nice to see the tight ends getting some nice plays. There was also a lot of injuries in this game, like Chris Olave and Tyrann Mathieu. And now the Saints have to get ready for Thursday Night Football in 4 days despite all these injuries. In this upcoming game versus Sean Payton in his homecoming in the Superdome, I'm wondering if this could be the deciding factor of whether or not Dennis Allen keeps his job or gets fired. Let me know what you made of Spencer Rattler's NFL debut. Like I said throughout the video, I thought it was pretty decent, but let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel, Cash Sports, for more daily NFL content and up-to-date news. Have a good one. Peace.